obviously we're all there to learn and we're all there to level up, right? And I think there was some great content. Specifically, I've gotten amazing feedback from the breakout sessions, and some of the feedback I've gotten was that you guys want more of that. You want a lot more of that. And I promise we're going to deliver a lot more of that for you guys. Without a doubt. It's like we're already planning multiple leadership training events this year, offsites, all kinds of really cool things. So you're going to get a lot more on the leadership, the building, the producing at higher level, like in the trenches, tangible. How do I do X? You're going to get a lot more of that. But besides all of that, let me just say I've never been a part of a group of that many people where it felt like there was complete alignment ever in my life. Just so much alignment in where we're trying to go, and more importantly, not just where we're going, how we're going to get there. And that's the real key. And that's part of that identity, how we treat people, how we treat our clients. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to stab people in the back. Like we're not trying to compete with one another. Collaboration beats competition 7 days a week. It really does. And so you could feel that energy in the room. And I'm just honored to be a part of it with you guys. Obviously, it'd be amazing to have a great summit like that. And then you come out of summit, and if we didn't crush the week, it'd be like, all right, a little bit of a letdown. But you guys absolutely went bananas, bananas. I've seen some of the reports. Like it's unbelievable to see like what some producers, they blew past their PR weeks by like five figures, five digits. Like some by $20,000 in a week. It's unbelievable. So couldn't be more proud. We're going to hear from some of you guys today. I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the participation. And I mean, hopefully you guys are sensing and you're catching on. We're just getting started, baby. We're just warming up. It feels like we're starting to get some real momentum. And that is seen and felt by us when we see what's happening with you guys. Like that's what it's all about. It's about you guys winning at your level of business and getting to the next levels. And it's pretty apparent. So Paul, I think you're about to kick us off. Gabe, whoever's doing some interviews today, take it away.
All right, guys. Well, hey, if we can get it spotlighted, I know we've got a good we got like a dream team slotted for you today. So let's get Jonah on first, real quick. And I don't know how to get him on. I just know that I
I'll
gotta.
get him. I'll get him rocking.
Okay, sweet, sweet. Well, guys, I'll tell you this much. I told the guys this morning, 18 years of summits and different big annual conferences and events. And there's just something when you can feel it, right? Like when you could just sense it, you could feel it, you could see it. And there was no question as I was there. I just knew that like God's about to do something massive. There's going to be transformation that's going to take place in many lives, not just financially, but in multiple different areas. Definitely financially, there's going to be some crazy breakthroughs, some crazy success stories. And I think the next 90 days is going to reveal that. So I want to really spend some time kind of unpacking, Jonah, for one. You've got the largest organization within Pinnacle. You've got a fast growing organization, fast growing group. I went to quite a few lock-ins within the hierarchy, and man, just so much potential of agents to go out there and absolutely crush it, to make a massive impact. So like this thing's going to explode. You know where I believe you guys are going to be at? I think you're going to be crossing well over $10 million a month in issue paid volume very, very quickly. I could see it. I could feel it. I could taste it. So I know it's going to happen. Love to kind of jump into maybe a key takeaway that you've got. I do believe that sometimes as you go to an event, and I've done this multiple times with different settings, you kind of have your notes, you kind of have your takeaway, and then you ask people in the room like, hey, share what you took away, share something that impacted you. And then somebody says something, you're like, oh man, that was so good. That was so good. And it really kind of helps you kind of maybe miss something that you were wanting, you needed to receive, right? And so I think we're going to have that today. And so love to have you kind of talk about your big takeaway from the event and what impacted you, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Paul. First of all, I want to give a shout out to you. I know Joe put a tremendous amount of time in Carmen, so shout out to them because that was genuinely where I've been to five of these, and that was by far the best summit I've ever been to. And everybody that I've talked to, whether it was they came to last year's summit or they're with their prior company, they all agreed. They're like, dude, that was absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to everybody on Pinnacle that put that on because that was a really good event. And it goes to show where Actually, just got off a one-on-one call with an agent out of the Arizona office, and shout out to the AD office. They just moved into their new office today. It looks absolutely sick.
Oh,
It's gonna be out there. I'm gonna be out there in a month to see it. I'm excited. But I was talking to him, and he approached me at the lock-in, and we sat down and we went for a walk and talk, and we talked for about 30, 40 minutes, and then he's like, dude, I'm struggling, and this is kind of what I'm struggling with. And then we did a follow-up today. And I said, hey, have all your numbers ready. And he came and presented his numbers. And I mean, dude, this guy's closing percentage was through the roof. It's better than pretty much all of our top guys. And he's telling me like closing. I'm like, brother, closing's not your issue. Like you gotta get in the presentation. But ultimately what it came down to was belief. And you're talking about transformation, Paul. Well, the only way to get transformation is to get the information first. Because you got to get the information. And then once you have the information, well, how do I get the information? Like you got to get around the people that have it. So you got to get out to these events. You got to be around the people. The truth is energy is contagious. Energy transfers. So being in that room, being with that energy, being around the people, getting the information, then the lock-in, the reason the lock-in was so powerful when we wrote so much premium was because we took that information, we put that in the application, and that's where you get the transformation. So for everybody on this call, you guys all need to be thinking to yourselves, and you guys all need to be asking yourselves, how can I raise the bar within my business this year? And BAR is an acronym. It stands for belief, action, results. All right, how do I get the belief? How do I get the belief in myself? Well, if I don't believe in myself and I'm a new agent, well, then I need to get around other people that have that belief within themselves. And that's why those events are so powerful because, I mean, I'll use myself for example. I ain't nothing special. I just bought more leads and I worked harder. That's it. A lot of the people going on stage, we got a ton of talented people here. Shout out to everybody, but that person that had that President's Club jacket, that PC jacket, they don't possess any innate special talent or ability that you don't have. So you're not going to get anywhere without belief. But number one is the belief. Best way to do that is by getting out to these events, coming out to the lock-ins, coming out to the summits, the leadership retreats, everything else, and then you put that into action because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't actually do it. So that's where the real results come from is the action. And then after that, it's just the results naturally come. But you need to have those two first.
So Jonah, for you, looking at coming out of this event, what's something that you're like, all right, I got to put this into practice. I want to, this is going to cause the greatest shift. Because I think that's where everybody, should be thinking like, okay, I got a ton of information, but what's the biggest thing, the single greatest thing that if I do this, it's going to help me really kind of take it to the next level. And let me just say this, guys, like even when you plan your day, we've got a ton of stuff to do, right? How many know that there's a ton of stuff you could be doing? But oftentimes there's a one thing that you could do that makes everything else seem unnecessary and not nearly as important if you can get that main thing done for the day. And I think it's the same thing. There's a lot of information on every call, but the hope is that there's something that you're like, that's the thing. What was that thing for you that just stood out where you're like, all right, this is what I got to do, whether that's personally, for the organization, from a leadership standpoint, from a building of your business standpoint? Like, what was that?
Good question. Obsession. I looked at all of the people there that had grown the fastest this past year, and they had one thing in common. They were all obsessed. So I think that we all go through those phases within our business where we get a little bit complacent or we're going through adversity or this person quit or whatever happens within our business. And we kind of just start cruising and we get a little bit complacent. And I think we all just need to get a little bit more obsessed within our business because work ethic's important, but work ethic doesn't hold a candlestick to obsession.
Man, that's good. I love that. That's gonna be my Monday motivational quote, and I'm gonna act like I came up with it. That was great. And you're right, man. Like being obsessed is okay. I think what most people do, Jonah, is like they look at obsession the wrong way. They're like, oh, that means that I'm not gonna have any time with my family. That means I'm not gonna have any time for my fitness. I'm not gonna have any time for my faith. No. That doesn't mean that. But there's certain times where you have to dim the light a little bit in other areas of your life and really make the one really bright based off of a season. And right now, there might be some lights that are categories of your life that are really important that don't need to go off because it's very hard to get those back on, right? You don't want to be like, oh, so my marriage is disastrous because I turned the light off. No. There's some times where you might dim it a little just because you need to go all in on one. In the season of where we're at with Pinnacle, 20 months in, coming off of this event, like guys, this is the time to develop the obsession, and you have to almost like communicate to yourself in such a way that causes you not to just get caught into complacency, get caught in just kind of like doing what you always, but to keep that obsession burning is really realizing the opportunity you got and also reminding yourself why you're doing it in the first place. The pain of obsession is very low when the payoff is so great, right? And so like looking at why are you doing this in the first place? What is it going to lead to? The difference it's going to make, and really kind of having that tied in and knowing that, hey, my obsession might lead to 5 or 6 more people on my team this next year that's going to change their life. And so let me get that obsession going. So absolutely love that, brother. Absolutely love it. Let's get Chris Maka on. Chris, we got you on, brother. Chris or Joe Turner or
Yep,
Chris
I'm ready.
Mumby.
We are here. Thank you for having me.
We're
Dude,
here.
good to have you on, my man. We had him spotlighted and then he fell off. Chris, are you still there? There you are. Oh. Well, I can hear you. So let's jump into it. For you, Chris, kind of the same thing, man. What was the biggest thing that kind of really helped you at the event, the big takeaway you took, and then maybe also the biggest thing that you believe putting it into practice is going to help elevate you, your career, your business, and your organization?
Yeah, well, there was so many things that come to mind. And first and foremost, again, have to, thank you guys, leadership, obviously Joe, Gabe, you, Mikey, everybody that spent the time to make that event what it was. Countless people just, I mean, everybody I spoke to was just overwhelmingly like, this is the best event I've been to along these lines. And I think my favorite part was that this event, it not only was it just special with all the great speakers and everything, but it really gave people a taste of what Pinnacle really is. And that's easily the best part for me because I knew what Pinnacle was. I know a lot of our core leaders, Malad, a lot of us that have been with Pinnacle, we're well aware, but for a lot of our people, they saw it firsthand. So it just gave a real glimpse of the true identity. And I really think that created a lot more unity. And again, had so many agents come up to me and just say, yeah, I see the vision now. Bought in. I'm so grateful to be around a place where there's so many people aligned. And again, that's easily my favorite part of it as a whole. And I think it's just great because it instilled so much belief in everybody. I think that's a really big piece is the belief that, hey, nobody's special, but we're all here to work together and help as many families, as many people as we can.
I love that, man. You're absolutely right because there's such a cloud of witnesses of success, right? Like it's almost undeniable. And I remember for a long time, dude, I go to conference and I was a guy that was 19, 20 years old, 21, and my background was pumping septic tanks and like digging ditches. And so when I'd walk across stage, I love being the person they're like, if that fool could do it, I could do it, right? And I think there's a lot of times at that event, you start watching what people are doing. You're like, you've been unqualifying yourself based off what you believe all these successful people, their background was, their resume was, and all that. And you realize, like, man, it's not none of that. It's just these intangible things that they do, whether that's discipline, work ethic, plugging in, and it's
just wait.
a lot more easier to go out there and get it than you think. It's not. It takes a lot of work, but like you just start to really kind of unpack the truth within that. For you, Chris, because like, and this is the one point I want to make because I think it's important, and then I want you to talk about it. Like when you go to conferences, you go to a sales training. For a lot of you guys on here, you're plugged into morning huddles. You're plugged into maybe an office. You're plugged into Discord, and sometimes we kind of discount, like, oh, we've heard that before. I've been here for X amount of time. I've heard that before. I don't need to hear that again. But the reality is, if you're growing and developing, you might hear the same thing, but you'll hear it differently because you're different. Like you've actually are now stepping into a different, season of your career, right? Maybe the first time you heard it, you were a new licensed person, didn't know even hadn't made your first sale, and then you become a 30K a month producer, and then you hire your first person, and you start to realize that yes, it's the same concepts and training, but you hear it differently. For you, I mean, this last year, 7-figure income earner, business is exploding. I really believe that you're a phenomenal leader. And so, like, coming into that event, what was the takeaway you took from this event that maybe you didn't take from other events that you feel like, hey, I'm going to apply this and this is going to make a big difference for me?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think as a whole, it instilled even more belief in myself. I see all my mentors, obviously, all the business owners, everybody that's leading from the front. And for me, it was just another realignment with finding that next version of me that's required for this next chapter. Specifically, Jeff Osborne, his whole thing really resonated with me because it was amazing, to say it lightly, but timing as well. A lot of things he touched on were concepts that I've been, thinking about and reflecting on. So that part was absolutely massive for me, where it's, hey, resonating. What's that next room look like, and to be preparing for that. And specifically with our team, we have so many leaders that are growing, and it's not just sales reps, it's not just producers, it's people just leveling up. And seeing that and seeing everybody just be so committed, and really align on that concept of, hey, we're all here to grow, we're all here to help as many people as we can, and we're all here to continuously level up. Like, there is no top, right? We're all able to, we can all become better people, whether it's specifically with the business, whether it's leadership, whether it's mentoring, outside of work, other aspects of our, like, giving back, philanthropy. Like, we're all able to grow in those aspects. So for us, seeing that vision and seeing it again company wide, I think was truly special. So for me, a big thing that I took and applied immediately after was reflecting and auditing. When you go to an event like this, it is really simple. I don't like to say easy, really simple to see the identities that you can mimic. If you want to be a top producer, there are so many top producers. Go find a top producer. Ask them what their inputs look like. Look at the vision and the path, and then map it out, and then reflect and audit your activity, your schedule, and align that with who you are aspiring to be. And it takes a lot of the hard questions. What are you willing to tolerate, right? What activity are you willing to do? What activities are you willing to say no to? But for me, the big thing was seeing all the identities and aligning my activity with that. So immediately after, went home and reflection, audit, not just your activity though, your mindset, right? Audit your focus. Are you present 24 hours a day, or is there a part of your day where you hit a lull and you kind of let the subconscious go? Because oftentimes it's not the high points that define us, it's mitigating the downsides, right? It's mitigating those moments where we might be a little bit weak. So, but to summarize it, yeah, reflect and audit your activity and make sure it aligns with who you're aspiring to be.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think it's kind of like, you look at New Year's. New Year's is like the national reset, right? Everybody kind of is like, all right, what am I going after? Let me reflect on my last year. What did I learn? What was my greatest lessons, greatest failures, greatest time expenditures? Who did I spend time with that really kind of brought life to me? What kind of people I spent time with that brought death to me, like pulled me down? And you start to reflect. And I think that we get so caught in just going through the day that oftentimes we don't literally stop and pause and look at our business and work on our business and figure out, like, what do I need to be doing differently from a leader standpoint, from a personal development standpoint, from a salesperson standpoint. Like, what do I need to be doing differently? And I think that when you're in that environment, it's just a great time to pause, but also have the model worth duplicating so in front of you, like what you need to go after, that it allows you to kind of find the points in your career or in your schedule or in your business that are off. They just start to highlight. They start to kind of to pop out because you're seeing, oh shoot, I need to be doing this differently. I need to invest more in these. I need to be more diligent with myself. Whatever it is, like, you start to see. And so I love that, man. Very, very good. I appreciate you hopping on, Chris. We're gonna get let's get Joe Turner on. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Howdy.
What's up, boys? Good to
How
see
you
you.
doing?
Doing great, man. Doing better than I get to look at you. Two winners. Hey, same thing. Let's jump right into like what was some your big takeaway from the event, and what was different about it, and what are something that you're going to be applying come out of the event that you feel like it's going to make the biggest difference in your business?
I'll go first. As far as the actual summit goes, that was our first one. We went to the Chicago summit, but that was our first annual summit because we've only been in for 10 months now. So for me, it was really cool to see all of the people that have done 100, 200, 300, 400K. And like the other two people, Chris and Jonah have said already, how nobody's special. Like seeing that, seeing agents get kind of mad in a good way at the awards that they got, even if it was 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, seeing that anger, that positive anger that they're going to take into 2026 was pretty cool and motivated me. And then as far as the lock-in went, after the actual summit, I attribute a ton of our success we had that week to what you said on Monday. I had kind of re-mentioned it at a couple of the nightly meetings and et cetera. But the coolest thing for me, not only did we PR as a team by quite a big margin, but what you said at that morning meeting where it's all about breaking the habits, like going to that lock-in with certain habits, whether they're good or bad, and ultimately just making an effort to improve on those habits throughout the week. That was the coolest thing. We saw so many mindset shifts, so much gratitude, so much harder work ethic. Like even people that worked hard that were already top producers, they took it a step higher that they didn't know they had in them before the lock-in. So that was probably the coolest thing personally that I saw, including myself. Kind of hit new levels in all aspects.
I love that, man. What was the biggest team, Chris, or the biggest thing within the team that you think shifted as far as like a discipline? Like, what was the one discipline that they started to do that you think created the PR, right? Because like that's a big deal. I mean, like having a
Yeah.
record like that, and we say it every time, right? And as time goes on from the last event that you experienced, your mind will start to downplay the value that came from it, and then the excuses and the things that'll kind of creep in that'll prevent you from making the decision to go to the next one. That could be a regional event. It could be plugging in the office. It could be plugging in this call, right? Where you start to take it for granted that, like, man, when you're in a highly energized environment where belief is high, people are going after, their next level in their business, their next level in their life. Like, there's something to that, right? And so, putting something in practice right away is essential, or it just becomes motivation that falls by the wayside, right? We want to internalize it. What was a big discipline for you guys as a team that you think made the biggest shift?
I think the biggest thing was the positive self-talk. We always say no negative things out loud. Like that's a given. It's one of our core principles at the home office. But sometimes at lock-ins, especially new agents, that it's kind of a new thing for them. They might get stopped at banking and let some negative thing out, and it's contagious. Like it causes a cancer at whatever house that may be. So we had some individuals that were kind of known for doing that a little bit in the past. But this lock-in, like they would post a picture. We have a Snapchat with all of our agents in it, and they would post a picture and it'd be like, yeah, 7 presentations deep, like good. Like everybody knows like that Jocko Willing video where it's like, something bad happens good.
Yeah.
Something good happens good, whatever it is, like the extreme ownership. So taking negatives into positives right away and showing that to every other agent on the team so that it's a positive effect. It's the biggest thing that
I love that, dude. I mean, I think that,
it's
yeah, that dude, that's so great. You guys are freezing up a little bit. I'm assuming it's just the part of the road that you're on. But dude, that's a big thing. Like coming out of the event, is your language matching what you want to desire? Like, are you speaking life over your business, over your sales, over the clients you're talking to? Because we all have that internal voice, right? It's kind of like when you go 4 hours and nobody picks up the phone. What are you saying to yourself? Is it like, oh, it's going to be one of those days, like people are just not going to pick up today? Or if you go and you have 3 presentations and you don't close any, what are you saying? Are you saying like, man, it's just man, like, can't believe I'm having a day like that. Like nobody's buying, nobody wants to buy. Everybody's giving me this objection. Or do you start to speak to yourself in a different way that says, man, I'm about to prepare myself for the next 2 to be closes because numbers don't lie. Or if I've gone 4 hours, nobody's picked up, the next 4 hours, I'm going to get a lot more answers because numbers don't lie. And people need to talk to me. I'm the best person that can serve these people. I got a heart to serve. I touch a heart before I ask for a hand. Like you start speaking to yourself the right way. And all of a sudden your attitude shifts. And your attitude is the way you think, feel, and believe about yourself, and then how you behave. And so I love that, man. I think that's a powerful takeaway. And
Paul,
it's beautiful.
Paul,
Yes,
I
John.
want to ask these guys an important question because I saw some of their numbers. Joe, Chris, I know you guys, I want to give shout out to the rest of the visionary crew. Lucas, Ben, JP, the dog, JP. Dude, how many total producers over 10K this past week at the lock-in and the visionary crew?
20.
Wow.
20
20.
producers over 10K. What was your total submit for visionaries this past week?
588,000 in 5 days.
588 on the week. And
Yeah.
you guys did how much in the month of January?
About $1 million. Or
You guys think about how crazy that is. Think about how crazy that is. Just breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. Joe, you didn't get a chance to speak, so I'll let you get back to it. I just wanted to highlight. You guys had what? Your top three look like what? Your top three this past week.
42, 41, and 37.
Yeah. The scoreboard speaks for itself. Go ahead, Paul. Back to it. Just wanted to highlight that.
I'm glad you highlighted that. So $1 million last in January, and then 500 and some thousand this last week. So doubling in essence. And it's not like when you double from 10 grand to 20 grand, going from like $1 million run rate to 2 million is massive. And I just want to make sure I caught this right. You guys said you've been here 10 months.
Yeah.
10 months. So not even a full year, a $2 million run rate. Let me just give perspective for anybody that's new on here. If you just had a 10% spread on a $2 million organization, that's $200,000 a month in passive income from a team. And then, to Chris's point, or to Joe point at Chris, that he did 30-some thousand for the week. That's all personal production. So that's an additional 30-some thousand in income from personal sales. And so, dude, that's beautiful. I'm glad, Joe, you said that because that's powerful. That just shows you how quickly you can do this thing. That if you're like, well, I can't do what the visionaries, I can't do what Joe and Chris are doing because, I'm just getting started. 10 months. Like you could say that to me, like Paul's been doing this for 18 years, right? Like, of course well, I would agree with you. Like after 18 years, if you just don't quit, it's going to be hard to still suck. 10 months though. And so I love that. Joe, same thing, man. What was the big takeaway you got and something you think in implementing is going to really move your business in the right direction, or what you've already done because the business is obviously moving in the right direction?
I think my favorite takeaway from the summit was the vision, and obviously it plays into our name, but having a vision so large and so clear that everyone else on your team and in your organization can fit theirs within it, and then helping them create that vision for themselves, and then ultimately a blueprint to get there. And what's cool is everybody's is going to be unique, which makes it fun. So you're going to have certain agents that they don't, want to do it for the agency aspect. They just want to personally produce at a high level. And then you've got the people that are more agency focused, and you've got both. So just really being able to help them understand what's capable in the business and then helping them get there. That's the most valuable part to me. So to your question earlier, like what's an actionable step that we're going to implement, when we get back here? We started doing it today. Shout out to Sean, Connor, and Mike Schill. We just popped over to their office today, and they're absolutely crushing it. But just getting around those types of people, being able to surround yourself with people that you want to become and observe them, take their identities, implement it. So that way you can go back to your agents and just relay all the information to them. So when I get back, I've got a list of emerging leaders. So I'm really going to help them construct a game plan and also come up with their agency game plan. And also just the newer agents who are first coming into the business, making sure that they have all the tools, resources, and the support that they need to really make this work as soon as possible.
Dude, so good. I'm gonna make this comment, and then Joe, Gabe, if you guys want to hop on and wrap it up and go through whatever you guys want to cover and add to this, because I know that you're probably got some great thoughts on how to put some flavor to what was covered today. As you're talking, Joe, I'm thinking about um, what you're doing is like the easiest path to get to success. It's following the footsteps of those that have gone before you, and they can show you where to step and how to step. Most businesses and industries and corporations, you don't have access to that. You don't have a person that's going to slow down and say, hey, let me show you what to do, how to do it. Let me give you my secret sauce. Let me give you the playbook. Like, that's just not a common thing in corporate America, right? Like, they almost don't want you to go out there and be as successful as they are, just because it might put their job in jeopardy or make them look a certain way, whatever, right? A lot of times we're stuck in that same frame, not realizing that, dude, Pinnacle is a family where we're all one big team. We're all here to support each other, to pour into each other, to provide value to each other. And that's not just something that sounds good. That's expressed in what you just talked about, Joe. Like, you're at Sean and Mike's office. You're going to be flying out to California in the next couple of weeks, coming into the office here. We're going to spend a couple of days together. And my desire is to pour into you guys, right? Like, and that's your desire, is to get poured into. And see, I think if everybody's watching today, the question I've got for you is, your calendar the next 90 days. What events and environments do you have in your calendar that's going to allow you to get poured into, where the top performers, their hindsight can be used as your foresight, where you can, because this is a thought process game. Like, when you guys first got started 10 months ago, the way you saw this business, what you expected from it, what you thought was, what you thought wasn't, all that stuff has probably been completely reversed, because you had to get exposed to it. And you could have done that by 7 years of just fumbling around and figuring it out. Or you could do what you guys have done, which is like getting plugged in to certain environments and saying, hey, can I come in? Can I spend some time with you? And then you got the questions. And by the way, most people that have got value because they've already crossed the gap that you're looking at, that's before you, they want to go behind and say, let me grab your hand, let me help you out. They want to be able to give value when there's value in a place that they can give it, right? And so they want to do that. So I think that's such an important point for everybody on here. You guys have got that dialed in. You're already, jumping right into it. Right after this event, we already had a ton of time with top performers, rub shoulders with them. But even so, the week after, you guys are plugged into an office space with two individuals that are growing a massive business and have some great, unique ways that they're doing it, that's crushing the recruiting side of it. And then you're coming out here. I would just implore everybody that's on here today, ask yourself, what does my 90 days look like? How many days am I plugging into other people? Do I have calls scheduled with them? Can I go out to their office? When the next summit comes up, the regional events, the office grand openings, you got, just plug in, get around them. Like, that's where you actually take it to the next level, because you can let their hindsight be your foresight. So absolutely love that. And when I say this, man, I mean it. I'm really looking forward to the time that we're going to get to spend together in the next couple of weeks, and pouring into you guys, because I know that it's fertile ground, and there's no question about it, given what you guys are doing. So great job, man. Great job. All right, Joe, Gabe, anything you guys want to
We still
hop on and
got
wrap with?
we still got our boy Caleb Combs.
Oh, I'm
So I'm gonna
sorry,
let you get
Caleb.
to
Yeah.
Caleb in a minute, but I want to just add one thing to what you guys are just talking about. Guys, hear me on this, please. One of two things takes place in your mind when you hear about the growth that Joe and Chris and the visionary crew, the entire visionary crew, they're the ones that are speaking today, but it takes a village, and there's a lot of people, and obviously they've received and put a lot into action from Chris, Maka, Malad Mina, and the entire Flow State crew. Like, none of this happens by accident, right? And they have an unbelievable culture, and it's super cohesive, and there's no backbiting, and they support and love everybody, and that's why the group is growing the way that it is. But when you hear about, all right, 20 producers over 10K, and you hear about that top three, and you see how much growth they've had in 10 months, one of two things took place in your mind. And I don't care. You don't have to be honest with me, but I want you to be honest with yourself. Either one, you thought to yourself, man, what are they doing that I'm not? And how do I figure it out so I could have the same results? That's the right way to think about it. If I were y'all, I'd be thinking to myself, how do I get in front of the visionary crew? Because what they're doing I should be able to do too. They have knowledge that I don't. They're taking action that I'm not. And if I have the knowledge and take the action, I'll have the same results. That's what your head should have gone to. But inevitably, there's a second like train of thought, which is jealousy. And jealousy to me is the ugliest emotion that exists. I promise you this, if you are jealous of someone else's success, you will never succeed. It doesn't, I'm telling you guys, it's a universal law. Call it whatever you want, but it will keep you from becoming who you're supposed to be that deserves a success that you could have. It's the lowest form of you that exists, and you can't beat that jealousy. So you got to get rid of it. You're not, I'm going to scream it again. You're not in competition with anybody inside of Pinnacle. You're not. And some of y'all think you're in competition with other IMOs. You're not. You know who you're in competition with? Poverty. You're in competition with you. You're in competition with right now there's a shortage of 130,000 life insurance producers in the United States to be able to properly serve the clients that need life insurance. That's who you're in competition with. And all the people that are making 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a year because they don't know any better, they don't know what else exists. They don't know what you know. They don't have what you have. You should be competing to change their lives. The clients that we serve, that should be your single mission. How do I improve as many lives as I can? Because the more lives I can be a part of improving, the more success I'm going to have. I'm going to get blessed financially. I'm going to get blessed with fulfillment. My family's lives are going to change. I'll become a better person, a better leader. You want to give back, like Chris said, get into philanthropic endeavors. You have the wealth to do that. That's what your brain has to get like now. Because every day that you delay is another day that you're going to look in the mirror and be unhappy with you. So I don't know. I felt like I had to say that. That's really, really, really critical. And by the way, that greed, that jealousy, that ugliness, you don't hide it as well as you think you do. The reason why you're not building a big team is because other people see it and you're attracting what you are. And now you got a team full of people that think like you, scarcity mindset, lowest form of thinking, lowest form of identity, and you're going to be running on this hamster wheel like indefinitely until you get this thing right. I want this year to be explosive, not just for the people that are winning right now. I want this year to be explosive for you. If you're in that second camp right now in your head, dude, just leave that at the door and get on the right side of the right mindset, and your life will change. I guarantee you that. Sorry, Paul. Let's get to Caleb.
That was so good, bro. Unbelievable. I love that. Yeah. Once you celebrate, you will accelerate, man. So start clapping for those and celebrating it, and you're more likely to have that show up. You know, the whole hate will just dissipate where you want to go. So, dude, so good. I love that. Caleb, if we can get Caleb on.
Yeah.
Where's he at?
We got the anchor. Is Caleb on?
I'm here. What's up, guys?
All right. We just got to get him spotlighted.
I got him.
If I don't know if you want to spot Joe, if you can spotlight yourself and Gabe as well. All right, Caleb. So same thing, man. For one, I said this when I was at your lock-in. Dude, Joe talked about lack mindset, scarcity mindset. I think we go the complete opposite into that. Abundance, like believing that like this thing's just going to continue to grow and explode. That's what if I think about that, I think about you. Like stepping into your lock-in, seeing what you're doing, your attitude, your language, your behavior, your growth. #1 producer with Pinnacle. Last year, $700-something thousand in issue paid business on your own pen, almost a 7-figure income. Your team's exploding, crazy growth. And so love to have you really kind of talk about from your standpoint, stepping into this event, man, you guys have got crazy momentum. There's no question that from what you're doing, you've got big expectation that you're just getting started. I didn't see any like residue of complacency on you at all, bro. Like I just saw this person that's going after something. What was the big thing that you took away from the event, and what's the big actionable step that you're putting into place to really kind of move the needle in your business? Caleb, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Can't use an iPad apparently. Okay. Yeah, dude. I mean, I appreciate that. I think there's a good amount we can all say that we took away from the event. I was trying to figure out exactly what is something that I personally can change, right? Joe's big push, your big push at the beginning was, hey, don't think about necessarily what someone else can take away from the event, but what can you take away and actually implement? And I think one big takeaway that is going to help me on a personal level, but especially with leadership, is the idea of the cost of winning, right? I've got this, I guess you could say, desire to win, right? The obsession, like Jonah talked about. But one of the biggest things that stops people is that it's expensive. It is, and that's never stopped me. Like I don't mind that. But the more you win, the more expensive it gets. And I think in my head, I've always looked at it and said, okay, obviously I understand I've got to invest, physically, financially, mentally. But what I've realized after seeing a lot of people winning, especially this week, is that the price of winning doesn't go down the more you win. The difference is you're just deciding to pay for it. And that was something that hit me. It was the idea that at every single new level you hit, the cost is going to feel more and more expensive, right? The time, the pressure, the responsibility, all the, the expectations. And what I realized is that growth does not discount itself. It doesn't. So it's not going to get cheaper. It's not going to get easier. You just made a decision that what's on the other side is more important than what it costs right now. And so what stood out to me wasn't the idea of struggle, right? Oh, I'm struggling to make it to the next level. It was clarity. And that was something that I lacked for a long time when trying to start, building. It was clarity that if I want an uncommon result, I've got to stop, I guess you could say, negotiating with the price tag. Right? Clarity that leadership requires sacrifice before it ever receives any kind of reward or prize or success, and that it's always available. Clarity that comfort is always available. Like we talked about, you got to become uncomfortable, but legacy, that's something that you got to earn. So ultimately there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And we've always talked about, hey, it's not talent, it's not opportunity, it's payment. It's who's willing to pay in discipline and in focus and in standards, but consistently. So I think I took away the idea of, hey, I'm watching all of these people win and they all paid a price. That might have been painful for a little bit of time, but the price of staying the same, that's permanent. And that's not something I'm looking to do.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know if I got anything to add to that, bro. I think we just wrap up.
That was fantastic. Got goosebumps.
Stop negotiating with the price tag. Like, I'm not going to forget that one, dude. That's a great line. Who'd you steal that from? Don't lie to me, Caleb.
Dude, that one came right out of here, bro.
Right off the dome. Right off the dome.
That's a Caleb Combs original.
Trademark that bad boy.
Man, so good. I mean, I think that, at the end of the day, there's this book I read a while back ago, and it was a great book because, it was one of those books that's like 12 pages. So it takes you no time to read it, and you can tell everybody you read a book for the month. But it was a book called The Common Denominator of Success. The quote in that book says, successful people form the habits of doing the things that unsuccessful people don't do. And it doesn't say like the successful people like to do them. They just form the habits. So they got to pay the price long enough through the pain of discipline. And then once that becomes a habit, well, now that's what the result's going to be tied to, right? And then how do you develop another best habit to continue to move the needle? And so, man, I just love that because it's very real, authentic. The truth is most people probably haven't started to move because they haven't decided that it's worth paying the price. And I think that is where you lack vision and how big this really could be and where you need belief. And I think that's why we've seen so many PRs is that, Caleb, you probably saw this on your team as well, that people finally got into an environment where they were like, I think it's worth the price. I think I should sacrifice my comfortability and my energy and my time and my money, my resources to really kind of put in and pay the price that I've been not willing to pay because it's worth it. And so, man, I love that. And dude, I told you this at the event. I'm really excited to see what you guys do. Like the fact that Caleb, what you just turned 23?
No, I'm about to turn 24.
About to turn 24.
Birthday's coming.
So 23 years old. To top producer in the company, fast growing organization. I mean, just a great testament for I think everybody that joins the company of what they can accomplish and what they can do with the right mindset. Because nobody on here would argue with the fact that your vocabulary is an expression of your thought process, and your thought process is one that's at a high level. You know, I got to make this one comment, and Joe and Gabe, you can, you know, you guys, add to what Caleb is saying here, because I mean it's so good. But I walked in, and so Joe, Caleb, he's like, hey, so the Airbnb he had was like, what was it, $50,000 for the week?
A little less, but yeah, it was like 47.
So 47,000, and you made a comment about like how they just reached out because you had to pay like $5,000 more per guest that was above what they said the guest limit was.
We're gonna edit this out. Don't worry, Caleb. Sorry, Paul.
So I
If
said,
they catch us.
so I said,
If
what
they
did
catch us.
I said, what are you gonna do? And you're like, I'm just gonna sell more insurance, bro. And like that response to was so telling in my mind, watching and working with people that just accomplish greatness, so telling where your thought process was. It wasn't like, dude, I don't know, I'm gonna need some help. There was no excuses, there was no complaining, there was no blaming, no justifying. It was like, I don't know, bro, we'll just sell a bunch of insurance. We'll just, you know, like, and you had to, you know, say another 10 guests, another 50. Yeah, we'll just sell some insurance. And that's such a testament, man, of who you developed into, and I believe where you're gonna go. And I just think that like that's where developing and growing is so important personally, because that comes before you see the top producer. That comes before you see the massive business. And so I love that, bro. So good, man. Honored to be in business with you, bro.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Love you, Caleb. My sweet 22-year-old baby boy.
Thank you.
22 forever.
In
Caleb's 22
in
forever.
20 years from now, our 22-year-old top producer,
I don't grow up.
babyface.
Appreciate you guys.
Guys, there's not much else to add. Today has been great. I've been learning. I took a lot of mental notes, some physical notes, like unbelievable. Thank you all for sharing and for adding value to the entire company. Here's the last thing I'll add. During the award ceremony on Friday night, at least 200 of you told me you're hitting President's Club this year. You leaned in, you whispered, "This is my year. I'm going PC." So here's my challenge to you. You obviously, dude, the energy was transferring. You could feel it. You can cut it with a knife in the room. You were watching people that you know you were just as good as. Some of y'all, you're competitive like me. You're like, I'm better than all these fools. You're thinking all of that because the energy in the room is flowing. Dude, do not doubt in fear what you decided in faith. You got to switch that identity. You got to get yourself doing the daily activities, the consistent things that are going to put you where you want to be at the end of every week, at the end of every month, and at the end of next year. Some of y'all that hit 400, 500K, you guys were ticked off. That's my favorite kind of ticked off. The kind of ticked off when you actually performed well and you know you had so much gas left in the tank. Like, we got a lot of people said they're gunning for Millie this year. I want to see it. That's life changing. That is life changing money, and the lives that you can impact, guys. It starts to just it just starts to get crazy. So I'm here for it. We want to help you guys. We're gonna pour a lot in this year. Jeff Osborne is starting his mastermind. I think that's going to be massive. I mean, y'all, I don't know about you. That for me, that 45-minute keynote was life changing, like life changing. Like I want to get more and more and more of that sauce because it just further roots in my identity. I want the same for you. You're going to get more about that. Jeff's going to be on a call here in the next few weeks to really unpackage what all of that is. Chris Gandy, he's going to be on a call very soon to unpack kind of what is the path to seven figures, multi-seven figures as a personal producer. The Wise Financial crew. Like, guys, I had them on stage for a very specific reason. I'm introducing to you guys some of the tools and resources that you're going to have access to every single day inside your business to level up. We got some really cool things planned. If I told you all that we have planned for 2026, it'd be too much for this call. We got some crazy things planned. Stay tuned. To the moon. Let's go, Pinnacle. Gabe, close us out.
Guys, Summit is over. We're not going to have another one until next year. There'll be other events between now and then that will be good, but that feeling that you felt when you made those commitments every day, take a few minutes, have your own personal summit. Relive that feeling, remember your why and why you're hitting this. I always feel this sense of such pride and joy when someone gets to be up on the stage and so many people on this call hear their story for the first time. And I know it so well. I've talked to that person so many times and I know the commitments that they made to themselves and the battle they went through. Guys, no one's going to get to know that if you don't pull through. Have that moment every day, and I'll be very happy to give you your jacket next year. God bless everybody.